So now I'm recording. All right. So this is the June 15th meeting of the SAGE Circulation Committee. In attendance so far, we have Darlene Johnson, Rose Peacock, and Maura O'Daniel, as well as myself, Brent Mills. Okay. And so kind of the first most interesting piece of business is to decide on a meeting time for the next meeting. And it's kind of been the second or third Wednesday of the month. So I think for July, that would make it July 13th or 20th, if I'm right. Does anyone have any objections to either July 13th or the 20th? Or preferences, I suppose? Okay, looks like everybody's easy breezy. So I think, at least for now, let's just put, yeah, nice. So we'll just put July 13th for right now, which is in 4 weeks. Okay. All right, so there's that. Okay, some quick updates, just kind of regarding circulation stuff. I've been working pretty closely with the Pines Consortium on the Quick Reports module. Pines is the big consortium in Georgia that started Evergreen, and they've contracted out for some work on this web portal for using reports. So I'll just show you, for those who haven't seen, I'll just show you really quickly. This is what it looks like when you go to the page, with basically the catalog and then quick reports with a dash in between, and you'll log in like you normally would with any login in Evergreen that has report generation credentials. So most accounts have that. And I've been adding some templates. There is another nice one I want to put in that I have for author circulations that'll basically let you see how many circulations an author has a year. So basically, if you want to see, for example, I wonder how many John Grisham books, what the checkouts are like for John Grisham books. You could put in Grisham John, and you also want to see how many circulations that happened for the year. So you can say, John Grisham his books had this many checkouts all time, and also this many checkouts for the year 2016, for example. And this is something you can run right now in the normal reports interface, but there is a little bug with this type of condition that I've mentioned on the Launchpad, which is where people go to put bug reports for items. So, oops, that's just the word. So, for example, this is what it looks like for quick reports. I have been putting in a lot of changes for this, and also just kind of bugs that I've noticed. This is the one for that bug I just mentioned. So these are actively getting looked at. We have a supervisor at Pines looking at them. And what else with the quick reports is new? there's some pretty good just kind of list reports. There are the bills report. This one is a pretty good one for patrons with bills. It'll give you an itemized per patron what their balance is on their bill. It works really well. I've made sure that it's returning the correct information. Yeah, and it's a pretty good kind of itemized billing receipt if you want to see who's got the biggest fines at your library, for example. So that's quick reports for right now. And I welcome you guys to try it out and let me know what you think. It's still pretty nascent in its form, but I think it's got a lot of pretty good promise. Okay. Yeah, and so now I just kind of wanted to do some quick updates with the style stuff. I know there's been some kind of, I've been posting to the listserv as well as just on the blog updates about some kind of changes that I've had in mind. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys those while everyone's here. And so for example, this is what our catalog looks like normally. Pretty familiar with this. There's another one to put more contrast on the buttons here compared to kind of the lighter version. That was to kind of increase legibility for patrons that maybe are not able to see as well. So there was that. And then also a kind of logo design change, which it does not change the logo itself. It's more kind of the border around it. And so there's that right there. And oops. And then, so that has the same buttons. And this has the modified logo with the higher contrast buttons in it, which you can kind of see right here. And then there was another one that I had with a kind of gradient holder, which you can see what it looks like when you hover over an image button here. That was just another option. I think kind of the design trends, at least with the web, are kind of moving away from, gosh, what is it called? Skeuomorphic designs into more kind of flat designs like this with less kind of popping outness and dimensionality. But I think the main concern for us is to just basically make sure that the catalog is usable and clear and legible for patrons without obviously making it look super dated. So I kind of, just in real time, wanted to show you. So this is our catalog as it looks this morning. Everyone's probably very familiar with this. So let me just pop in here real quick, show you what these changes would look like in real time. Right, so let's see if this works. Oops. Okay. Thanks for holding out with me here. Okay, so you can kind of see I don't have the logo that doesn't have the white background yet, but when we put in the CSS change, it just rounds the edges. And this is kind of a nice little change, I think. And then in addition, when I put in the change there. It kind of aligns things a bit differently and also provides us with a kind of better mobile look. So for example, when we go to what it would look like on a phone, the advanced search and browse the catalogs are kind of centered buttons that highlight what the kind of search options are like when you're in your phone or tablet that has a kind of restricted view. To see what it looks like currently, it would just look like this with the links, which are good too. I just kind of wanted to give another option for those who haven't seen it. So there's that, which I thought was pretty nice. Okay. All right. So it looks like now we have Claire, I think from Harney County, and Mary Reiser. Okay. All right. So the main kind of, to break it down, what the changes were in regards to oops. So they were in regards to the top logo on the catalog page, the buttons below the logo. So that would be these guys right here. And then the buttons for the mobile view. And I will put these out on the test server as well for people to look at, but I just kind of wanted to be proactive because I've seen some other sites that have been doing some pretty interesting things with their layout of their Evergreen site. For example, University of Prince Edward Island has kind of gone ahead and formatted theirs quite a bit differently. So you can kind of see they've got the buttons there and their top links up on the very, very top. It's a pretty broad search. They've kind of added some interesting CSS with the buttons, as well as kind of a little more legible mobile design as well. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not falling too far behind. And there was this survey that I put out a while ago that had kind of the proposed ideas for that kind of changing with the logo itself. And it's a little difficult to see maybe on your monitor browser, but when it's in the website, the gradient on this is much lighter. So beforehand it was a little darker. It kind of mimicked the fade from the header here. Currently it's just the white background, and then this one is a much lighter light green to white as opposed to darker green to a lighter version of gray or an off-white. And from what the comments I've heard from this survey are 100% everybody liked it, except they liked the lighter version better. No one said they didn't like it, but there were a few people that didn't have excuse me, didn't have an opinion. So I encourage you, if you have not already, kind of given your opinion on this, to click on this link, which is available in the agenda and is also available on sagelib.org when you go to the committee meeting, which is right here and was also sent out in the listserv. Okay, so that was just kind of that. All right. The main thing that I really kind of wanted to do was that, oops, get out of there, was get the logo maybe with the beveled edges, and I just want to make sure that things are legible for patrons, and that people are happy with the way it looks, as well as possibly the button changing for the links here when it's turned into the responsive version with the mobile view. Okay. Okay, and some brief general systems update. There was, over the weekend, there was a pretty big change that I did, which was a backend change to the database server we had. That upgraded us to the most recent version of some of the backend processes that run our, mark updates and things like that. That has completed. As far as I know, there aren't any issues, or I haven't been told any. There was an issue with Mark Records having an issue updating. That was just related to some modules not being turned on, and that has been changed. And past that, I don't think there's been any back-end changes with regards to circulation recently. Okay. All right. So did anyone have any questions, or were there any? Has anyone experienced any kind of error issues happening lately, especially starting Monday? Would probably be when you'd notice them. The changes came in on Saturday night. Okay. Yeah, and with Circ, I've also been helping Milton Free Waters moving to RFID for some of their check-ins. So I've been helping with that process. Okay. Some past action items. The renewal survey, still need to do that. I don't know why that's been falling to the wayside. I've been getting caught up with the kind of system stuff, and I need to get that done. So I will just do that today, along with this, since this is a big, it's been a backlog on the last two, so we need to get that done. And the renewal survey, just as a kind of reminder, was about the number of renewals that were the default, and if people were still okay with the 2 renewals instead of something higher like 3 or 4. And I think, at least from what I've heard so far, people are kind of happy with the way things are at 2, and to just do those overrides for additional renewals. The only kind of issue I've noticed is when it gets a little bit crazy, and we've seen a few instances where renewals are pushed to, -10 or something like that, when it just might make more sense to extend your circulation policy to include a longer checkout. So if you find yourself having to renew often and continually, talk to me and we can get your policies looked at to see if it might be worth increasing the checkout duration so that you don't have to do those renewals too often. And the hard due date, that has worked out pretty well for the schools we've used, as well as Hood River High School. This is a big one. Send out that security about the turning procedures. I will do that as well after the meeting today. And I will just make sure to put this in the notes. Okay. And the holds training has kind of put on hold actually because just of some the changes that have been going on over with Hermiston, as well as just the work I've been kind of putting into making sure these quick reports work and are integrated as well as they can be. I also wanted to show with the quick reports, there's now a button that you'll see on the main page, which will just launch you out to that quick reports page. So every time you click on that, similar to the help desk, it'll just launch you out to the web browser. And the reason for these icons is that they're the open source versions that were, besides this one, were included with Evergreen, so we have the license to use them. Okay. And then a last update that I forgot to mention was consolidation of shelving locations for districts or multi-branch libraries. This was a big one that just happened for Oregon Trail and Baker. What it just basically did is, when you're assigning an item a shelving location, let me get to the editor here real quick. Also did this for Hood River. You'll see that Hood River has 3 branches under the main district, which, is kind of the umbrella for all of these. And all these 3 branches had individual shelving locations. So Cascade Locks had a adult fiction. Hood River had an adult fiction. Hood River Parkdale had an adult fiction. And they're all, as far as Evergreen's concerned, different locations, but to staff maybe editing records and adding items, they look the same. And so what I've done is go ahead and take the shelving locations that were owned individually by these branches and consolidate them under the district. So you'll see now that if I go to Hood River or Parkdale, the owning library is the district. So that means that no matter where you go in Parkdale, Hood River, Cascade Locks, this location is the same. And this really helped with Baker because they have many, many branches. And they ended up having, I think, 299 distinct shelving locations, all told, for all of their branches. Collapsing them and consolidating them into ones owned by the district brought that number down from 299 to 79. So it's not only kind of helpful for catalogers that might work at different branches to make sure they use the right shelving location, but it just is an order of magnitude less work and back-end kind of cruft to deal with all these multiple shelving locations. So if you're in a library that has multiple branches, we're doing it for Lake County as well. Oregon Trail did it. I think for the most part, everyone else is their own kind of entity. They don't have multiple branches. But if you'd like to do that or are interested in the process of what actually happens, let me know. It always doesn't hurt to just kind of do a shelving location cleanup. I do that on occasion just to make sure everything's in the right place. Okay. All right, and we revisited those items there. The holds training it's I'd say about 50% done, but it should be getting pushed out here soon. I'm hopefully going to be able to focus more attention on that now that the major updates are done on the servers. So I'm going to focus more on the kind of training aspect and less on the systems. All right. This was kind of a holdover from the previous agenda, which was basically, do we do with volume holds? I still think that's kind of, we're treading water on that. The main objection still was for magazines, and patrons kind of maybe being confused with what was happening. So I guess, has anyone's opinion changed or is still the same in regards to their stance on volume holds? So basically holds on the call number. Okay. Do see from Maura that she said staff would like to do away with volume holds for patrons if it's possible. It is possible. We just kind of need to get buy-in from the consortium. I think let's see, this might be, sorry. Okay, actually, come to think of it, since we have a bunch of surveys right here, why don't I just send out a listserv post that includes the links to the renewals survey, security detuning procedures. How do you do it? Do you? As well as not turning, as well as volume holds. Okay. Okay, so I will send out afterwards. I will just collect all these into here and put out a link to the renewal survey that I think I already have, checking what people are doing for security procedures as well as volume holds. So I will do that all together and hopefully we can get some better responses on that. Okay. I guess, does anyone here, and this might be more cataloging related, but is anyone using currently parts for magazines, or are you using kind of the call number as a way to differentiate versions of, July, June, spring, summer, fall? What I've seen primarily is people using the call number. I'll kind of point to an example here. Hopefully, maybe you guys are noticing it's a little bit faster in the catalog now. I've added in some indexes and some compression for the catalog to hopefully make the searches load better. So let's go to, should have brought it up right away. Okay, so it looks like right here, people are still using the kind of the call number as a way to differentiate different copies. It does not look like there are any parts currently. Okay. All right. And as Maura kind of mentioned here, are people wanting volume holds to be placed only by staff members, or do you still see a benefit in allowing patrons to place holds on what I think for the most part is a magazine use case for volume holds to keep them around still? Do you want to only allow staff members to place volume holds, or is there a benefit that you are noticing to keep volume holds allowable for patrons? So for example, I can still, put a volume hold on this magazine. Okay, I've got Rose saying no need for patron volume holds in Legrand. I think this will be an interesting survey when I put these all out, just as a kind of final, make sure everyone's seen it link out there. Maura mentioned that she doesn't see a lot of holds on magazines. I agree. I guess I can kind of maybe see it if someone's using a library as a way of having a subscription, kind of in a way. So they'll place, a hold on the new item, the new issue that came out. But for the most part, I think libraries don't allow holds on their brand new copies of their magazines, unless I'm wrong. Otherwise, I don't think people would see much of the new magazines on the shelves there. Okay. All right, so I'll mention all this in the listserv post I'll put out a little bit before lunch. Okay, and then kind of the last question I had for the forum, us six, I guess, altogether, is what were your general concerns or hopes with the style changes? I've been trying to kind of my best figure out a way to get feedback from library staff, directors, patrons regarding the changes I mentioned kind of above here with relation to the logo and the buttons. But I just want to make sure if you have any concerns, if you just want it to be the same, I should just stop stop doing this all. Excuse me, stop trying to change the style altogether. Just Rose has mentioned she likes the gradient logo on the mobile And I'm getting a little better at the CSS too. I've been working on with our quick reports. This will come into the general code set that people will share for quick reports. I've been changing the CSS so that certain things are a little more responsive. Yeah, thank you. So just, I guess the main thing is to just ask your staff. I'm 100% open to all forms of criticism or opinion. The main thing is I just want to hear back, good or bad. Because no matter what you think about the catalog, there are certain Oregonian libraries maybe that are using Evergreen that don't have the greatest catalog lookout or catalog layout. I won't name names, but you can probably figure it out since I think they're the only other Oregon consortium that uses Evergreen. But I think they also use Blacklight as a discovery layer. Okay. So yeah, just please take your time to kind of look at these revised logos I've got. And I'll make sure to let people know before anything changes with that. It won't be a surprise, hopefully, if people are reading the listserv and the blogs. I just want to make sure that that's generally what people want. Since looking at our stats, there are an increasing number of people using the catalog with their mobile devices. So I think it's very important for us as a consortium to focus on what we can do to make our mobile view better for patrons. And maybe even a little simpler. I know, for example, let's just do the old classic, Harry Potter. Oh, he's not a magazine. That's why. There's some things that kind of pop out at me that I'm not a huge fan of personally. For example, in the mobile view, there is kind of a tendency to shove everything to the left side, which sometimes works, but there's all this kind of white space left over when you're trying to refine, do an advanced search or another search. Also, in my opinion, if you're clicking another search, why wouldn't you just do a search? I don't know why you need to reload the page. So that seemed a bit redundant to me, as well as making sure that we can maybe position these elements a little better so that they're more apparent to patrons when they're moving through the catalog on their mobile device. I know for the most part, if you're on your phone, the main thing you want to do is, check your holds or place a hold. And so going through this process and making sure that, it looks as good as it can, as simple as it can. You kind of see that the buttons are already positioned here a little stranger. There hasn't been a whole lot of work with responsive layout, but they are trying. Okay, just go back to the catalog. And for those that are wondering, excuse me, why the slider doesn't show, that's by design. It's to hide it so that there's not accessibility issues for phones that don't know how to handle JavaScript. Also, it just decreases the load time and makes things snappier. And they can always still check out the new titles, see what's there. And that's another thing we might want to make sure that, people know where to go. All right. Okay, so that was, I think, for the most part, what I wanted to go over. Um, is there anything that I'm missing that you wanted to talk about or maybe bring up? It can even be systems related, but especially related to Circ. Um, just any questions that you've had or noticed with Evergreen recently? Thanks, Maury. Yeah, now that people can try out quick reports, probably get more feedback on that. I wanted to make sure that, you know, everyone logging into Evergreen now can see that. Um, and as soon as that issue with that particular filter for, where was it? The author circulations is fixed. I might remove this for the time being until that bug can be changed. I think it probably won't take that long. But when that's fixed, that'll be a sweet report. I'm pretty sure that's a cool one to run. I enjoyed doing it just for John Grisham. It was interesting to put in, you know, oh, let's see, John Grisham, 2016, Hood River. And it spit back out at me all of John Grisham's titles when they were published, how many times they circulated, and how many times they circulated um, this year. So I think that's a pretty good one to have. And then also, I've been talking with Taryn, who's the project manager at Pines. And these list item created added by date range are pretty good if you want to kind of do a catalog inventory monthly and see how many items per month you've added, how many items per month you've deleted. It's good to automate these. These are kind of good general reports. Pines just recently put up something about that monthly cataloging review. That's using those reports I just showed you, right? Sorry. The items created, added by. That's what they're looking at with, see their quick reports right here. They've got that cool little tree logo. Yeah, and I'm going to also do a kind of a PDF walkthrough similar to what they have here of running a quick report. It's much easier than it would be with the reporter, and it looks less scary. But the more we have, the more people we have actually running, running reports, the quick reports, the better off they'll be. And so just kind of encourage your staff to play with them. There are still some bugs, but I like it quite a bit, and I hope we can make it better for Sage. And it's pretty cool that we're one of the libraries that is leading the charge with it. Pretty excited about that. Okay. I guess if everyone is really don't have much else to mention, I've got a blog post coming out on our upgrade that recently happened, those big ones for the database and our operating server. If you really want to dig into the boringness, I'll I'll post that as well on the blog. Just have people get a chance to check that out. Okay. All right. Right. Well, not hearing anything else, I think we could probably adjourn now. I think I just want some let's put some action items on here just so we can all be on the same page. Heading 3, that's why. Okay. The action items. What did we have? We had the collective listserv email survey links. Okay. So there was that. That kind of bled into here. And I guess with the style changes, could just be a kind of big survey. Might as well just do style update. I don't want to pile too many of these surveys on. I know everybody hates surveys. Maybe just a style update notice since no changes are going to happen right away. Especially with the buttons, mobile, and the logo. All right. I think that's all I've got. Is there anything else that I'm missing that is conspicuous here? Okay. Hearing none, I'll get on putting out this email for the listserv, so expect to see that today. All right, I guess I just want to say thank you for coming to the meeting, and hope to see you guys all next month on July 13th. Also, if you ever go to sagelib.org and sagelib.org and you're logged in as a staff member, I have been putting up the meetings that I see in the GoToMeeting list on here. So if you're ever curious if there's a meeting coming up and there hasn't been a listserv post, check sagelib.org after logging in, and there should be some mention of it here. All right, well, thank you very much, and hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you.